The growing economic impact of the COVID-19 crisis has been revealed. Over 500,000 people were receiving some form of social welfare income support by the end of March, according to the latest Live Register figures. Just over 283,000 people were receiving the COVID-19 pandemic unemployment payment in March. This was on top of the seasonally adjusted Live Register total of 207,200, which was up 24,400 on the figure for February. In addition, just over 25,100 people were benefiting from the temporary COVID-19 wage subsidy scheme. Well, to discuss this, I'm joined in studio now by our industry and employment correspondent, Ingrid Miley, and our economics correspondent, Robert Shortt, is also with us. Ingrid, to you first. Can you take us through these figures? They certainly make for grim reading, don't they?
They certainly do. Let me take you back to just a month ago when the Live Register found that there were around 182,800 people on their register using their criteria. And that meant at that stage, unemployment was at about 4.8%, which in technical terms is full employment. 4 short weeks later, and we've got over 500,000 people on income support. Now, that's around 17%. We didn't even hit that level in the crisis years after 2008. And this has happened in less than a month, and there's worse to come. Because remember, we've got 283,000 people who are picking up the pandemic payment, but there are more in the pipeline. Remember, we only shut down construction, which has 147,000 people in that sector, at the weekend. So there's a lot more to come. Regina Doherty, the Minister in charge of Social Protection, she said that this was a reminder of how much has changed so rapidly. This has completely upended the notion of full employment. And the challenge now for the government is to prevent a temporary health crisis becoming a permanent economic emergency.
Yes, it is. And I mean, the only chink of light in all of this has been that it's different than 2010, even though there are obviously obvious parallels, and that when this ends, things will bounce back a lot quicker. But can't that be relied on, that forecast now?
Well, the first thing is I'm going to repeat myself and say this is going to get worse before it gets better. There are going to be more people needing support. But we don't know. We say these schemes that have been put in place are put in place for 12 weeks. The idea being you're either back at work or you transition to normal job seeker benefits. We just don't know. So the question is, what is going to happen in terms of the incidence of COVID-19? That will decide what's going to happen. But for the moment, it could get worse before it gets better. Yes,
indeed. With that in mind, Robert is in studio with us, and we'll get an indication of that with Exchequer figures this afternoon, Robert. And I expect they will make for further grim reading. Is that right?
Well, Ray, the Exchequer figures are for the first 3 months of the year, so January to March. Now, at the start of the crisis, the Revenue Commissioners told small and medium-sized companies that they could defer their VAT payments. March is a VAT month, and normally there's a big chunk of VAT being paid. So I expect there will be a significant fall-off in VAT receipts, which is a significant source of tax income. I also expect that there will be a considerable increase in expenditure that hadn't been scheduled for both health and, as we've just been discussing, social welfare. They're going to both feed into the figures. But this is really just 1 month of exceptional circumstances. January and February were quote-unquote normal months. So we're getting the first glimpse, we will get the first glimpse of the kind of damage that's being done to the public finances from these figures today. But it's really the next 3 months where we're really entering into uncharted territory.
Yes, exceptional circumstances, as both yourself and Ingrid were saying. Robert and Ingrid Miley, thank you.